You know something, Mean Gene?
You're gonna be mine. Woo! He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And you will be excellently executed.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Oh yeah.
You are now watching Wrestle Drop on YouTube. It's the NWA Bunkhouse Stampede 1988 pay-per-view show from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. 6,000 people in attendance. We got Jim Ross and Bob Curdle on commentary, and we're back with another video, ladies and gentlemen. 1988 feels like our first real year of really getting into this retro timeline, because we've got the Royal Rumble. Now we've got Bunkhouse Stampede. We're going to do WrestleMania 4. What else happened on the day of WrestleMania 4? Well, we got the first ever Clash of Champions. Later on in the year, I think we have, obviously, Survivor Series. We have a whole bunch of NWA events. And then, of course, like I said in the last video, we were going to do the AWA Super Clash 3 event. So, I'm excited. You guys will notice throughout this video, we're gonna change things up a little bit. It might mean that you might only get 1 or 2 videos a week, but it means better quality, I think. And I think it'll help you guys understand what I'm talking about when I show it this way. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, hold on, you'll see it in the video. With that being said, let's get into our first match, where we've got Nikita Koloff, the current NWA World Television Champion, as he took on Bobby Eaton. I thought when I saw these two in a match, I thought, you know what? This could be a decent match. Boy, was I wrong. Was I so wrong about that, because this match just did not deliver whatsoever. I saw some people enjoyed it, some people despised it. I think those people that enjoyed it are on a pure nostalgia trip. I'm just saying it how it is. Those people are on a pure nostalgia trip. This was underwhelming, to say the least. Tony Schiavone was ring announcing. That's something. But let's start into the match. So we got a lot of stalling by Bobby Eaton and Jim Cornette, as always, but that doesn't seem to worry Nikita Koloff whatsoever. This is just, from the get-go, you can see this is a power versus speed and technique match. Straight up. Nikita Koloff with the power, Bobby Eaton with the speed, technique, and the mindset. The match starts off quite competitive, to be honest, but that is until Bobby Eaton lands a cheap shot and gets Koloff firing. Koloff is not happy about it. Koloff just uses his power to just ground and pound Eaton and just grind him down, basically giving him nowhere to go. However, Eaton uses some quick offense and kicks and punches to fight back and get the advantage in the match. Koloff fights his way out of a headlock and lands a power slam to Bobby Eaton. Eaton then later on takes it to Koloff on the outside, but he gets shoved into the ring post shoulder first by Nikita Koloff. Bobby Eaton lands a top rope drop kick, which I thought that is normally where Bobby Eaton ends his matches, but Koloff kicked out at 2.99. Very close near fall. That was a nice moment in this match. Eaton then dominates 90% of the match, which is quite surprising, I'll be honest. I thought this was going to be power taking control of this match, and then Bobby Eaton having to do some heel tactics to get the advantage, but that's clearly not what happened. Jim Cornette is just excellent in this match at ringside. Being a loudmouth, you can hear most of what he's saying. He's just being annoying, getting heat on himself and Bobby Eaton. Great stuff, honestly. And then with 4 minutes remaining in this, I think 15-minute match, or 15-minute time limit match, Koloff then fights back with a clothesline, but gets caught into a hammerlock once again, and these hammerlocks went on for way too long. Just as you think Koloff is fighting back, and okay, he's going to end it before the time limits. Nope. Bobby Eaton gets him in a hold. With 45 seconds remaining, so just keep in mind nothing happened between those 4 minutes and 45 seconds. They started throwing some big strikes at each other. Koloff landed a huge clothesline, but with not enough time to get the pinfall, and therefore it was a time limit draw. Underwhelming to say the least. Okay, underwhelming to say the least. Post-match, they quickly went into attack by Stan Lane and Cornette onto Koloff, and that basically stopped any heat from the crowd for the terrible finish. The underwhelming finish, to be honest, because it got the crowd like distracted again. I wonder if that was the real intention, or if it was just a byproduct of what they were already going to do. The match was long and slow for absolutely no reason. No reason. There were moments of excitement, sure. I mean, it's Bobby Eaton and Nikita Koloff. It should get exciting at some points. But Koloff just showed nothing. He looked uninterested, unexcited. this wasn't a watchable match, if I'm being honest. Probably the worst showing I've seen from both men so far. Bobby Eaton did look great in what he was doing, but his offense was also lackluster. Holds for way too long. And, holds for a long time is great when you've got two technical wrestlers exchanging holds, getting the better of each other. But when you've got one guy locking in a hold on a powerhouse that in theory should be able to just get out of this hold, it's a little bit underwhelming. I even wrote here, why was Bobby Eaton the dominant wrestler in this match? I think they tried to do something different with the psychology, and it didn't work. Nikita Koloff is not the most proficient wrestler in the world. You need to wrestle to his strengths, in my opinion. This was not wrestling to his strengths. He's not going to sell for you like crazy. He's going to dominate and be that exciting babyface / heel, whatever he is at the moment, but in this case, obviously babyface, and for a while babyface, that he can be, but not by selling. So I was really disappointed in this match, to be honest with you guys. I think I was expecting a lot as well, and maybe that's my fault, but I gave the match 1.5 stars. Not what I expected from these two guys. I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, guys. Maybe I'm overreacting, but just not enjoyable whatsoever. So you guys let me know, what did you think about this opening match on Bunkhouse Stampede 1988. Our very next match on the card was Barry Windham, the current NWA Western States Heritage Champion, as he took on Larry Zbyszko. This was a match I was interested in. I've seen bits and pieces of Larry Zbyszko, but I haven't seen a whole bunch of him. I've seen a lot of Barry Windham, and I love Barry Windham. I think he is one of the most underrated wrestlers in pro wrestling history. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves nowadays, and perhaps that's because he didn't have the accolades of the likes of a Ric Flair. And I think that is, it's a shame, because honestly, he's so damn good. This match was enjoyable. We moved on from Bobby Eaton and Nikita Koloff, and we went to some enjoyable wrestling, where there was holds, there was heavy strikes, but the moments of let's calm it down were still exciting at the same time, because you know that they were going to exchange something any moment now. All of a sudden, Larry Zbyszko is going to get the upper hand, or Barry Windham is going to get the upper hand. It's not just going to be a long, boring, strenuous time limit draw. Anyway, I'm done ranting about that match. Barry Windham gets the better of Larry Zbyszko early on for most of the offense, which forces Larry Zbyszko to take a moment on the outside, and he's trying to stall now and find his rhythm, but it's not quite working. Windham continues to get the better of Larry Zbyszko as he avoids a dropkick attempt from Larry. The story so far in this match is everything that Zbyszko tries with Barry Windham, Barry has an answer for. He's stopping everything Zbyszko tries. But however, Zbyszko finally gets some offense in as he lands a drop to hold on Windham, which leaves him scrambling for a break or grabbing the ropes or trying to get out of this hold. Windham eventually fights out of the hold and lands a power slam followed by a top rope elbow drop, which he misses. Zbyszko continues to work on the previously injured knee of Barry Windham throughout the match, and that really started to tell the story of this match. Windham, though, does fight back with some strikes and a drop kick, and a pretty poorly executed suplex, if I'm being honest, by Barry Windham gets him a 2 count for his troubles. Barry Windham then locks in a sleeper hold on Zbyszko, but Zbyszko gets to the ropes just in time. They then fight it out on the outside with Windham going shoulder first into the ring post, kind of like what Bobby Eaton did earlier on in the night. Then we get a moment between Barry Windham and Zbyszko where Windham pulls Zbyszko with his legs between the ropes or between the ring posts and targets the crown jewels. You know what I'm seeing. You guys see the clip right now. The ref then takes a bump and Windham rolls up Zbyszko, but the ref can't make the count. Zbyszko grabs Baby Doll's shoe and knocks Barry Windham out to get the victory. And your winner is Larry Zbyszko, and he is a new NWA Western States Heritage Champion. So the story of this match is Larry could not get the upper hand or the better of Windham for most of the match. The one thing Zbyszko hadn't made use of was Baby Doll, and when that opportunity arrived, he took it and made full use of it when he grabbed the shoe and used it on Barry Windham. The difference maker in this match was Baby Doll and the injured knee of Barry Windham, thanks to the Horsemen attacking him in weeks gone by. I thought this was a good match by both men, very good psychology, unlike the previous match. Okay, I'm done talking about that, but I really enjoyed it. The back and forth nature of it, there was a story to be told, there was a story within the story, because from what I understand, there was not much between these two men going into this match. So they told the story completely in the ring. And it was easy to understand, easy to get behind, and I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I wrote you, I don't think I will ever not like a Barry Windham match. And from what I understand, Larry Zbyszko is not the most exciting wrestler, but you know what? Barry Windham made him exciting here. So I gave this match a 3.25 star rating. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Barry Windham is exciting as always. The story was great. The back and forth wrestling was great. Enjoyable. Let's move on to Ric Flair versus Road Warrior Hawk for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And no, that is not the main event of the night. We still have the Bunkhouse Stampede match. So there was a note on the screen saying that there were technical difficulties, therefore the match is incomplete, but they're showing us the fullest version of the match that they have. But I do think we only missed out like a minute or two, judging from the pace that they were starting at when the match started. Flair's dominated early on by the power of Hawk, which is obvious. You knew exactly what you were going to get into when you had a Hawk versus Ric Flair match. Hawk stomps Flair over and over and over in the corner, really putting Flair on the back foot early on. Hawk then with a suplex from the apron into the ring, and still Flair has no answer for Hawk in this match. Hawk is just dominating. They take it to the outside where Flair tries to fight back, but this angers Hawk and it doesn't quite go into Flair's favor. Flair then lands a low blow behind the ref's back, and then this gives him the advantage over Hawk for the time being. Ric Flair threw Hawk multiple times into the barricade to wear down Hawk even more, because at this point, Flair was dominating. Hawk fires back with a neck breaker, which Ric Flair sells fantastically, screaming, "Oh my neck, oh my neck." Great stuff. Ric Flair's selling was really on point throughout this match, which it needed to be when you've got a dominant guy across the ring. Hawk then goes for a jumping knee drop, but Flair gets out the way and Hawk sells his knee big time. He's now really in pain from that missed knee drop. Ric Flair then begins, of course, working the knee of Hawk and then wraps the knee around the ring post multiple times, and Hawk is now in deep waters. Flair then locks in the figure four, which after some time Hawk manages to turn the hold over, of course reversing the pain towards Flair, and Ric Flair sells the hell out of that as well. The ref then takes a bump thanks to Hawk. Both men fight it on the outside, which gets Flair bleeding. He obviously got cut open. I think he hit the ring post or he hit something, causing him to bleed. We get a superplex off the top rope by Hawk, and he goes for the pin, but the ref is still down and cannot make the count. JJ Dillon then interferes in the match and hits Hawk with a chair, but of course, immediately regrets it as Hawk basically no-sells it. Flair then hits Hawk with a chair, but Hawk kicks out. Hawk is not fazed by these chair shots. Flair then uses the chair once again in front of the ref this time, and the ref calls for a DQ. Definitely not the finish I want, but I completely understand it. Hawk is one of your top guys in the promotion or in the territory. Ric Flair is your top guy in the territory. You wanted to sell tickets, so you booked this match, but you didn't want a clean finish for the match. So I get it. Is it what I want? No. Do I understand it? Yes. So DQ win for Road Warrior Hawk. Of course, he does not retain the title. The match was a lot of fun to watch. Some fantastic selling by Ric Flair and some pretty cool power moves by Hawk. The psychology of the match was excellent. This was exactly the type of match these two men should have if they're facing each other. Nothing different. Nothing different. This is the match they should have every time they face each other, or the psychology they should run with. The DQ finish kind of felt like desperation from Ric Flair, and not really him trying to do the chicken shit heel thing, rather just, I'm in so much trouble, I need to do something. And that is what Ric Flair ended up doing. I gave this match 3.5 star. I really enjoyed this match. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. Let's move on to the Bunkhouse Stampede match. The Bunkhouse Stampede match, basically the rules of this match is you've got to either throw your opponent over the top of the cage from the top down, or you got to send them out through the door. The last man in the ring is essentially the winner. So we have Tully Blanchard versus the Barbarian, versus Arn Anderson, versus Dusty Rhodes, versus Road Warrior Animal, versus Lex Luger, versus Ivan Koloff, versus the Warlord. Now, I'm going to be honest here, guys. My notes just disappeared. They just disappeared for this match. I don't know where they went. I do know the finish. I remember some parts, but I don't have any play-by-play. So unfortunately, I'm just going to talk about how this match was to me and how I felt about this match. So this match consisted of basically just punches and kicks, chokes in the corners, chokes on the sides of the ring, grinding faces onto the steel cage, throwing people into the steel cage, but not many bumps because the ring was just so full. I don't understand the concept of throwing them over the cage, because like, how are you realistically gonna grab someone and climb up to the top and then throw them over. You just wouldn't climb to the top if you didn't want to get thrown over. But anyway, so at times when they're like both climbing to the top, it looks a bit choreographed, and I'm not a fan of that. But it is what it is. Dusty was bleeding all over the place. I think Ivan Koloff was just a punching bag for absolutely everybody in this match. Lex Luger got dominated by Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard throughout the match. There was a lot of tag team action from both of them. In fact, I'm going to cut straight to Lex Luger's elimination. So Tully and Arn were both trying to push Lex Luger out of the cage, out of the door, both really struggling to get Lex out, and eventually all three men toppled out of the ring, and thus eliminating all three men. After back and forth, everyone else got eliminated, and it was left with Dusty Rhodes and the Barbarian. Back and forth action between them, pretty basic stuff. Eventually, though, they find their way to the top of the cage, where Dusty throws off the Barbarian and gets the victory within the match. This is Dusty Rhodes' third Bunkhouse Stampede victory, third in a row. It's the third Bunkhouse Stampede event, but the first on pay-per-view, hence why we're doing the review now. So, did he need to win? Probably not, but I guess he did. Dusty Rhodes got a pop, of course. Really loved. I do think he's starting to phase himself out now. I think we're going to start seeing less and less of Dusty before he obviously goes to the WWF for that year. But yeah, the match was okay. It was okay. It felt a bit underwhelming compared to like a War Games match, for example. And yes, it's every man against it for themselves, but it's not really, because only the heels attack the faces and only the faces attack the heels. They did not attack each other at all throughout this match. So it's kind of like a War Games match, but in one little cage, and then one man wins at the end. Violent, sure. Was it an all-time classic? Definitely not. I gave the match 3 stars, and perhaps that's a bit high. Perhaps it should be a 2.75 star rating. I like the moment with Luger and then Arn and Tully. I like the fact that stories were told within the ring. That was all good. But 3 stars, we'll give it that. And to sum up, Bunkhouse Stampede, 2 great matches in the middle, underwhelming start, underwhelming finish. Only 4 matches on the card, so it's a much shorter card than what we're used to with NWA events. But I suppose that is because of the nature of the final match. Enjoyable stuff, I guess. Not a very long pay-per-view, so easy to get through, easy to digest, easy to do a review on. But I'm glad it's over, if that makes sense. I want to get into Clash of Champions. I want to get into WrestleMania 4, which I've seen countless times. Not the best WrestleMania, but a nice moment at the end. And I want to start getting into the Flair and Steamboat matches that we start having later on in the year. So, with that being said, that was Bunkhouse Stampede, an alright show. I wouldn't go back and watch the show. Personally, I would not go back and watch the show. So, we'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.